I got a fun golfing story. Did I send you the pictures from golf?
No.
All right, that's a show topic and a half. The listeners love my golf stories.
Do they?
Yeah, they find me very relatable. No, they don't.
Do they? I can't say I've ever heard someone actually say that.
That I'm relatable?
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty relatable. I think everyone relates to me as the shitty boss they once had.
So I'm looking at a video right now, and the caption is, "Today the insurance picked up my totaled street glide. Fuck." And the tow truck put a winch on it, started winching the bike, it fell over and slid up the bed sideways.
I just kept, never let off the winch.
Never let off the winch. It's totaled, so no one really gives a fuck about it. But would you do it that way?
All right, put it up on the show. I'll debate you on it. Because you're lazy and you would.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I am your host, TowManG, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the man with very strong opinions, Mr. PlainGuy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
I almost forgot the intro since we've been on break for so long.
It felt good, though, didn't it? You got to admit it felt good a little bit.
I don't know. I've had some health issues this last couple of weeks, so it didn't really feel super well anyways.
Shooting blanks again, are we, chum?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have they diagnosed you with the R word?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay. It's coming. I want you to be prepared. I want you to feel that when they give you the diagnosis, you're not alone. There's a lot of people in the towing industry that absolutely share that issue with you.
Well, my mama always told me I was special.
And some of them, in order to be longtime listeners to the show, may share it with you.
Yep.
So welcome to another episode of the Towing Life podcast. As G mentioned, we have been off for a little summer break. It has felt good. We need our breaks and refreshers too, right? We run all year long. Winter's coming. It's right around the corner.
Shut up.
It's the W word. It's
Just
coming.
Shut up. Just shut
the
up.
Snow, the sleet, the 40 hours straight without a break. I mean, a little break in there, probably a little nap and a Timmy's coffee, but for the most part, it's coming. So when we can get an opportunity to enjoy some downtime and help get ahead on the podcast and help prepare for future episodes of the podcast, it does us all some good. So
yeah, I'll break the third wall. We record this during the break, you know?
Yes.
This is part of the reason why we had to take a break.
Yes. Yeah, we're not going to lie to you here and say that it is just, it is what it is. Okay, why you gotta break the third wall and let people in behind the curtain?
Is it the third or fourth wall? I don't know.
I don't know. Break all the walls. Before we get too far into it, it is a good time to mention. Wow, I'm having a hard time too.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Apparently, you're giving me a case of the R word. Can we get in trouble on YouTube for saying R word?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
YouTube. I don't care. There goes the algorithm. You can bleep it out if you want. Just tow truck drivers trying to have fun. No, we do appreciate your questions, comments, concerns. If you'd like to give me shit for what I've been saying on the show, by all means, how can you find us? You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at the Towing Life Podcast or by visiting our website at www.towinglife.ca. There you can hit all kinds of different options. There's a contact us form. There's our recovery of the month. Do not forget to get your submissions in, right? Next week, after this airs, we'll be announcing August. August recovery of the month is coming up. Yeah. You've got your chance still to get entered for it. So be sure to submit at www.towinglife.ca/recovery. You get a chance to win a $50 Canadian Amazon gift card, as well as a spot in our 2024 calendar that will go on sale at the end of 2023. There is also, what else is going on? Oh, see us at the show. We will see you at the show coming up September 16th, 17th. Does that sound about right, G?
I think that sounds about right.
15th, 16th.
Huh.
At the Provincial Towing Association of Ontario's annual tow show. I believe it's their 25th anniversary.
Yep.
Being held once again this year at Bingman's Resort and Campground, I think is one of their full name.
I think so.
So be sure to get down. They've got a lot of things planned. They've got a little parade going on this year. They've got, you know what, every year they've been stepping it up, and with their 25th anniversary, it is no different. We're
going into that parade.
We're going into the parade. What are we going to drive in the parade?
I don't care. I got flashy lights in my pickup.
Okay, you can look like a 2500 with a rattler.
It's a 3500 with no wheel lift, okay? I want to feel included. It's 2023, goddammit.
So yeah, they're doing a parade. They're doing all kinds of things. Don't forget, they got the best show, best rotator, best flatbed, best heavies, all that kind of stuff. So be sure to get your truck shined up. Head on down to the tow show. Find us there. Come on by the booth. Say hello. We'll be doing some live recording, some different things like that going on. We'll do like we did last year. We'll come to you guys live, right? We'll do some live walk-arounds. Mm-hmm. We'll do some different things. I've got the drone this year. I wonder if we could incorporate that somehow.
Oh, of course.
That'd be fun.
We could definitely do it for the YouTube side of things. The audio side loses out at the tow show.
Actually, no,
the drone doesn't normally pick up audio either.
No, there's no audio recording on the drone. But so be sure to mark your calendars. Head on down. Get your reservations now. Grab a hotel for the night. We are there Thursday. We're there Friday, Saturday. You know, come on by, say hi.
Now we got to bring stuff to the tow show. Thanks.
I'll bring stuff. Don't worry.
Okay, you better.
I got ideas. I'm gonna bring stuff. So,
do you mean I'm gonna bring stuff because you're flying out and you got to ship it all to me first?
No, I'm not flying out. I'm driving in.
Okay.
I'm driving in. My wife is
here. You were planning on flying in last year.
I was planning on flying in last year, and then plans changed. But no, I'm driving up with my wife. She's gonna come spend the weekend with us. She's gonna hate it.
Yeah.
She's gonna stay at the hotel, and then I told her the hotel doesn't have a pool, and she was crushed. And I mean, for the price of the hotel, it's a very nice hotel. Don't get me wrong. And they were kind enough last year to let us do an after show, which I'm hoping we can sucker them into again this year.
Yeah.
To do an after show from the restaurant. Now we've both got nicer rooms. Maybe we'll have room to do one in one of our rooms.
Yeah, we will have nicer rooms. My room's on the first floor again this year. I requested that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So anyway, see you guys at the show. That's enough of that. Okay. Thank you, PTAO.
Yes.
Now, okay, so summer break, right? Little break that we took. I told you before we started recording that I have a good golf story for you, and I thought you might enjoy it.
I don't like golf, so I never enjoy these stories, but get on with it.
You'll like this story. Okay. So we decided, we had booked it a while back where me and 3 of my friends were going golfing down in Mont-Tremblant, Quebec. Beautiful area.
Mm-hmm.
So we go out, summer break, get a break in, have, some drinks with the guys, play some golf, have a good time. I wanted nothing to do with towing while I was down there. My goal was, the whole point of this trip was to completely get away from towing. I forwarded my line. Like I was disconnected. Mm-hmm. Would you believe that while we're out on the golf course, I end up having to do a recovery? The sad part is, it was the golf cart in which I was a passenger.
Huh.
My cousin, who was driving this wonderful golf cart, approached a very steep hill with a curve in it that actually says at the top, check your brakes and slow. Well, this guy decides that he's going to Tokyo drift it going down the hill. And so locks up the back brakes, gets it sliding. The problem is with a golf cart is you cannot get throttle response back. A, because we're going faster than the cart will allow at this point. To keep it from biting. So I'm a big lad. I'm 285.
And you're on the passenger side.
And I'm on the passenger side, and he's about 140 on the driver's side. What do you think happens when that thing gets 90 on the cart path?
Well, it depends. Is it sliding in your direction?
I'm on the short side.
Well, then you're going ass over tea kettle.
That is exactly what we did. We rolled the golf cart onto its slide and slid down the cart path about 6 to 8 feet. I won't show you my leg right now. It is still road rash. I was lucky that I was wearing an elbow brace because I was having an issue with my elbow the last couple of weeks. It saved my arm from the road rash.
Hmm.
And I still remember when we land, and he's going like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm a little road rashed. Like, I can feel it, but I'm good. Like, nothing's broken. We're okay." And he goes, "Okay, okay, okay." And we get up, and so we look like two, groundhogs poking our heads out from over the carts. Our buddies are behind us. They watch the whole thing happen. And we're like, "Hey, like the warden was at the top of the hill or the marshal. Like, we got to hurry up and upright this thing before he comes down here." So we upright and roll over we use snatch blocks off trees and everything else, proper rigging techniques.
Yep.
I would like to point out that alcohol was not a factor of it.
Really?
Believe it or not, it was the third hole. We hadn't even cracked one yet.
That makes this story even sadder.
It does. Right. I mean, the photos we took of the golf cart that maybe I'll share one day have beer in the cup holder, but that was later on in the round after the fact that we took the pictures of the damage because we were really worried we were going to get in trouble for it.
Yep.
So the marshal finally shows up as we've operated this. My leg is bleeding. I have turned so he can't see my leg. And he's like, are you guys okay? And like, at this point, keep in mind, the cart's upright. It's on the trail. Nothing suspicious going on here.
Where are your clubs?
It's still attached.
Oh, okay.
They're strapped in. It's like a lot of, like, the only thing that went flying out was, I think a pack of cigarettes flew out that we had to go pick up. Everything else stayed in its cubbies. And the guy goes, "Are you okay? Like, is everything okay here?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "I heard a bang." I bet you did. He goes, "What was it?" "Oh, one of our bags fell off the back of the golf cart."
There was no marks on the cart?
Oh, there's marks on the cart. The roof is scratched. That was weird. The roof is scratched. The side panel is scraped up, and there's a scrape on the back fender. Like, the one bracket is completely sanded down from the 6-foot slide that we did.
Wow.
Yeah, no, a bag fell off the back of our cart. That was our excuse. And you could tell this guy did not believe us. So anyways, we finished the round, surprisingly. Like, felt good enough to go finish the round. No broken arms, no broken legs. It was the best case scenario from an incident like that because it could have been a lot worse. Like, this was a big hill. And it was on pavement. Like, we didn't roll it in grass. We rolled it on pavement. The worst place to do it. And
I got a golf course story for you. So the first time I ever went into a golf course was, I don't know, a month ago. Yeah.
You went golfing?
No.
Oh.
It was for work, towing related.
That's the first time you've been to a golf course? We worked in an area that had like the most golf course per capita in Canada.
Yeah, I've only ever gone into the parking lots to unlock people's cars. This time, it was to tow a pickup truck, but for this particular golf course, where the maintenance building is, you couldn't get to it from the front, so you had to go through a subdivision and into the back of the course, down cart trails to get to the maintenance building. Yeah.
Nice.
So I roll in there, and I was like, "Oh, well, I don't know exactly where I'm going, so I'll just put my 4-ways on and act like I'm supposed to be driving down this cart trail." And I get to a Y, and I look, and I was like, "That's a bridge, and this is a cart trail. I'm going to go the other way because I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid."
Solid decision.
Right? So I finally find the vehicle, and I get it hooked up, and as I'm coming back out, there's like this, I think it was like a big industrial leaf blower on the back of like a gator.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oncoming to me. And
you're playing chicken. I'm
playing chicken with this thing, and well, I've got a Ram 1500 on the back, and I'm not going onto the grass. I'm not taking my 14,000 pound truck onto the grass.
No, not onto a golf course.
Well, where I'm sitting, there's just the tiniest bit of standing water on either side of me. And this guy, instead of, stopping back at the Y, where you would think you would let the bigger vehicle pass, he decides to go around me right where I was. And he buries his little leaf blowery thing in the water. And I just keep driving by because I don't have time to deal with your stupidity. And that was the first time I was ever in a golf course.
They're really nice, eh?
Yeah, I was actually very surprised. I was like, wow, I understand why people go to play golf to relax. And then you tell the story of you going down a hill sideways in a golf cart and flipping it over. And that just ruins the whole tranquility of the place.
It's always the fun. We have smashed and banged. And, I remember we did we're at I want to say it was at a PTAO golf tournament. Where we were probably on like the 8th or 9th hole. So the 9th hole will come back to the clubhouse. So you'll like kind of go out, do 9, and then you'll come by the clubhouse, do the 10th all the way to the 18th kind of thing. So you get a break halfway through. You can go in and grab a bite to eat. Yeah. And I want to say it was the 8th or 9th. I can't remember. And I remember the bunch we were playing with. I'm pretty sure it was one gentleman. I won't name any names, and his wife. But his wife wasn't golfing. She was just riding along. And we smoked him at the tee. Like, we ran hard into the back of his golf cart. Like, they're bumper cars. They really are. They're tougher than you would think. And after that, our cart wouldn't move. Like, I can't remember if it was electric, that one, or gas, but it wouldn't, like, it couldn't move. And we're like, oh, no. So it's got GPS and everything on it. We hit the, help thing, and nobody answers at the front desk. Yeah, it's kind of like on start. Yeah. So we load our bags onto the other groups, so we got 3 bags on.
You're overloading the payload.
Oh yeah, it's him and his wife, and me and another gentleman I will not name, and we're holding on to the back, and we go riding to the clubhouse. And we get there, and they're like, "Where's your cart?" We're like, "It's back there." I don't know what happened. Just wouldn't start. Oh my God, we're so sorry. We'll get you another one right now. We'll take care. Like, they treated us like gold. Yeah. And we probably just did a couple $100 damage to the poor golf cart. So if you ever get a chance to go out, golfing is not something you have to be good at golfing. You just have to be with good people to go golfing. And you can have all kinds of fun while doing it. So yeah, I'm a little tore up. No broken limbs, no broken arms, no broken legs. I'll send you some pictures after the show. A lot of road rash on my leg. My arm is all right. But it was definitely one of those things that it was a story. Right. Even if, I took a time away, I was still out recovering golf carts. I got to roll over while I was off work. So that being said, there is more serious topic that I'd actually like to get into on this show. I know you've got some cool points that I want to get into, because one of them, we've got a cool scenario how we work it in town here. But I want to talk about taking for granted the experience that you have. And I'm not talking to the listener. I'm talking to you and I here, G. Taking for granted the experience that you have in the industry whenever it comes to new guys. Right? I, tonight, went and finished off a tow. One of my operators had to get out by a certain time. He was willing to go do this run that might leave him a little later for me. And anyways, while doing it, it ran a lot later. And so I said, hey, meet me here. I'll pick it up. I'll finish it off so you can go home. And I'll go do the drop. Yeah. Anyways. This guy must be exhausted at the end of the day, because his hookup, now this is an operator who's been there, I want to say he's creeping up on a year. He's getting close to a year. And he's developed fairly well. Like, he's learned. He's not one that'll shy away from a challenge. Right? Like, he's not like, oh no, I can't do that. Like, he will try and he will do things, and he's had a good track record. Yep. But he was towing an F-250 4-door long box. Big enough truck on our 20 TB. And, I seen him before he was leaving the shop, and he's getting the tire straps out. And I'm like, put them away. Like, chain it. Half ton, like 3/4 ton up, chain it. 1 ton. We didn't know if it was an F-250 or a 350. So I said, chain it. Okay. So he calls me whenever I told him I'll meet you. And he's like, just so you know, I've chained it and wheel strapped it. And I'm like, okay, I've seen guys that have done that. Yeah. Makes them feel better. I got there. He chained it, wheel strapped it, put it back in park, and put the parking brake on.
Huh. Wow.
And I'm like, and here's why that's not the worst thing, but to me, it shows that you don't trust your hookup.
Yeah.
Right? You don't trust your hookup. So... Yeah. And then the other thing was that, like, okay, so you've ever chained something from the rear? Let's talk hypotheticals. I know the proper way that you're supposed to do it. I know the way a lot of guys do it. You put the J hook, or you put the T hook on, or the mini J. You put them to the back, you pull the winch tight, and then you put 2 securements on the front, right? Yeah. When you get the tail of chain from the back, especially if it's a bigger truck, what do you do with that tail of that chain?
I see some guys, like, hook it back onto itself and then tuck it underneath the tire, especially if you're going to be pulling it up a little bit.
I do after. I let the chains hang when I pull it tight.
Yeah.
And then I normally wrap around the tire and then back onto the chain. like the grab hook back on the chain. It just ties it up. It's not going anywhere. It would have to bounce, fall off from there, and somehow get all the way around the tire before it'd be hanging off the truck behind you.
Mm-hmm.
This guy wrapped it.
Mm.
Wrapped it. It was a lot of chain. He used a J hook on the axle. It was maybe about 6 links after that was hooked onto the bed. There's a lot of chain.
Yeah.
So he did that on both. And then he had the, the park brake and the I'm like, man, like parking brakes are dangerous in Canada.
Yeah.
They are a crapshoot. If that's not standard, I would, unless you've verified 3 times with the guy that he uses it regularly, do not use a parking brake.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit there and I go, man, this is so much more work. Like I was the one doing it. I'm unwrapping this chain and doing this tire shop, and then I'm doing this chain binder. I'm like, holy Jesus, you must be exhausted. But you take for granted the experience because of how long we've been doing it. That part of it is training, right? Part of that to me was make a mental note that him and I, when he gets back, he's about to have a baby. Congratulations. By the time this comes out, you've had your baby. Towing is a career full of different situations, from vehicles missing a wheel to having none at all. A great operator learns to use all the tools in both his physical and mental toolbox. I'm here today to tell you about a new, exciting tool to add to your physical toolbox, the BakPul hitch. Like many people on the internet, I had my doubts about this product. Doubts I personally aired on this podcast. But the fine folks over at BakPul Hitch sent me one of their products to try, and boy, was I surprised. Its quality of build and ease of use made me eat my words real quick. So if you're a doubter like I was, head over to bakpulhitches.com for more information and to find out how to add another tool to your toolbox. That's BAKPUL hitches.com. Put a mental note that we need to do training.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to question your hookup that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal. The first, your rookies, when they, especially with flatbeds, even with wreckers, they're even worse, I think. They load stuff up, they tie it down, and they're like hawks on their mirrors. They're like looking back and forth, like, is it still there? Is it moving? Did it move a little bit? Did it slide a little bit? Did it shimmy a bit? But like that's what this is. This is a sign of not feeling comfortable in his hookup.
Yeah.
And even as a light duty operator that's slowly getting into mid duty stuff, like this is standard enough stuff. But I think again, we take it for granted. It's easy for guys, I've been at it 10 years, to sit there and go, hey, what are you doing? Like, dummy, why are you throwing 8 different separate tie downs on it? Hook it and go. But again, it's because we've been doing it so long and we've been through it and we've seen it. But when these new guys haven't, I'd rather see that than put one chain on it and just go, I think this is good.
Yeah. Now, I'm not a confident flatbed operator. I think I might have.
You meant competent.
Yeah. I think I might have 20, 30 hours behind the wheel of a flatbed. So like I'm green.
Wow.
Yeah.
6 years, 7 years towing and like 30 hours in a flatbed.
Yeah.
The hell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more, but it's nothing much. I've done a couple of high top sprinter vans where I'm like real close to max height.
What's max height?
13.7, 13.6.
13.6 without a permit, yes.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah. So I've been close. I've done some things. I've hauled a little bit of equipment with chain binders and everything. I'm under the impression though, if your wheel straps are good for, ours are good for 3,338 pounds each.
Yes.
So you put 4 of those on, that means you're good for roughly 12,000 pounds. You're good for a little bit more, but call it 12,000 pounds. Right?
Sure.
Most of your 250s, 350s, single rear wheel, which sounds to be what you're towing. Yeah. My truck weighs about less than 9,000 pounds on like 8,000 pounds on a good day, depending on what's in it. So to me, you put all 4 wheel straps on, you're within your working load limits. Now I know why you're saying put chains on it, because it gets the rock out of it. Now, yes. I've done a few heavier stuff to where most people would chain it, but I'm more comfortable with the wheel straps. A, because that's the thing that's on your truck and that you're using all the time. B, I've never had proper training on a flatbed and proper procedures. It's just, I've been a record driver so long, 4 wheel straps, pretty simple stuff, really. I've done it a few times to where I've taken a J hook or even a mini J to one of the transport slots on a full frame pickup truck.
Absolutely.
So I've winched it onto the bed. I put the front wheel strap on while it's still on the angle. I've tightened that fairly. And then I go around to the back because I want to have some sort of securement at the front, right? Because I'm
Your
crawling
safety,
underneath it.
your number one priority. Yeah.
Yeah, I put the one chain on the back, regardless if it's a J or a mini J, whatever, and I hook that on, come back to the front, and either while I'm leveling out the bed, that rear chain will get tight, or I pull the winch up a little bit with that wheel strap still on because you got movement in it and it's not super tight.
Mhm.
Then you put your other 3 wheel straps on. Well, with that chain on the back, it's not going anywhere. Yeah, you're leaving your winch a little tighter, which I know you're not supposed to do, but guys do it. It happens all the time. It's not the main source of securement. At that
No,
point, it's just taking the wiggle out of your wheel straps.
no, there's. I mean, take it from a guy who's been running flatbeds, and I'm sure somebody can come at me in the comments. I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if you're doing a chain, man, I can. Like I've done it before, where the wheel straps, because this 20 TB that we use does equipment, does all kinds of stuff. So C cans, for example, you have to have the wheel straps off.
Yeah, and you don't normally leave the wheel straps on the bed.
It all depends. I always leave it in the last position after the tow.
Yep.
Right? Like I'm not going to put the wheel straps back on just to my next call be a C can.
Yep.
Again, and the same thing, I'm not going to take them off if they're on and I can leave them there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you leave it kind of whatever you need on your last tow. Like if I get a car on it, I've chained cars just because the wheel straps are off and I'm like, I can chain this car.
Yep.
Right? But like it's chaining at like a 2500 is, I would say, just as fast, if not quicker, than doing tire straps, wheel straps. Winch it on, cluster ratchet at the front, hook it on, ratchet tight, your safety's in. Bring your bed up, it's on an angle so that your strap is still tight, you have a safety.
Yep.
Hook your 2 rear chains to the bed, snug up your winch. Okay, this is where it matters though. Level your bed out. Go to your right front, ratchet that tight, whether you're going to use a chain and a ratchet binder or a ratchet cluster, your choice. Yep. Ratchet that tight. Then go back to your front, ratchet it tight, you're out. You did a loop around the truck and you're tight.
Yep.
Bob's your uncle and away you go. Right? Undoing it, same thing. Pop over, right side, front, ratchet, pop, unhook, bed out, tilt a bit, snap your left one off, pull it out, tighten it up again with nylon lock. Back off the winch, chains gets loose, undo the 2 chains, bring your bed to the ground, pull it forward, unhook your front one, roll it off. Yep. It's quick and easy. The only truck that sucks are Dodges. Dodges do not leave nice spots on the frame.
No.
They do not leave ideal tie downs. Fords and Chevys, beautiful. Dodge, God, they really want you to avoid chains.
Yeah, it's like above the sway arm link. It's stupid. It's a stupid spot.
But Dodge on the rear is actually really nice if you guys ever encounter this, even for winch outs, straight winch outs, where the spring at the back mounts to the front.
Yep.
Where the spring at the back mounts to the frame at the front, there's a perfect transport slot right there. That is very solid, very rigid, straight pull them back.
Yep.
Do you wonders. But yeah, so again, I would say in my 10 years, I'm pretty split. It's probably about 50-50 record and flatbed, right? I've got a good mix of a lot of things, so it helps out. But that's what I mean, where I take it for granted on an operator like you that goes 6-7 years, I throw you in a flatbed and go figure it out.
Yep. Because
I take for granted, right? And I think we do that to a lot of guys, and it leads to 2 things. Normally you get Johnny over secure like I had today, which is hard to criticize. He's not doing it wrong. He's just doing it a lot of right. And then there's
he is doing it wrong because he's over secured. There is he's not putting himself or any other people in danger, but he's taking more time. He's wearing himself out.
A good tow truck driver is a lazy tow truck driver. Yeah. Right? We've always said that. A good one is a lazy one. And we don't mean doesn't want to work. We mean it's efficient. So when you see stuff like that, and you know what, I think it's 2 ways. You get guys like him who care a lot and don't have maybe the proper understanding. So that's where training is involved.
Putting it back in park with the e-brake on is just no.
Well, first of all, it was a nightmare to go on. It got me so far out of my rhythm when I had to unload this thing. So I'm like, what? Okay, I gotta put that in, but the tire strap or the chain, like Jesus Christ, I'm all over the place.
What do I do first? What's my order
yeah.
of operations to keep
Yeah,
something
pretty
on this
much.
truck so it doesn't roll off my bed?
Yeah, pretty much. So no, but then you get guys like him, like I said, that care, or you get guys that might have the same approach and don't care, and that's where you end up with your one chain wonders.
Mm-hmm.
Your guy going down the highway with 2 wheel straps and they're both on the same side.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that on social media the other day, and the guy was like asking for comments. So you could tell was the driver because he posted like legit pictures from inside the truck, like looking back at his mirrors, and I'm like, oh, the amount. Like if I had one of my drivers like posting that on a Snapchat, I'd add him to a long list of guys who no longer work in the towing industry.
I had a driver brag to me because I always said, "Hey, man, you should really put on more than one wheel strap." You know, just going around the corner. I get it. The chances are it's not going anywhere, especially if you did drive it onto the bed like this operator always does. It's in park and you got a wheel strap on. Yeah.
I hate
He
him.
sent me a picture. He was like, "This is going to grind your gears." There's no wheel straps on.
No, it
None.
drive on park.
Yeah. Put it in.
Oh,
He's like, "It was only going around the corner." Now, this is coming from an operator that has had 2 vehicles run into 2 separate headache racks.
this guy has.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah. And he was a really good operator too, aside from all this
Says
stuff.
who?
You know him. I'll tell you who
Oh,
he
I
is
know him.
after the show. Yes,
Oh,
you
I
do.
can't wait to hear this one.
Yeah.
Did I train him too?
No.
Because you turned out kind of 50-50. I'm not sold yet.
No, but you want to know something that else is 50-50 is dropping vehicles off at dealerships after hours that have a gate on their entrance.
Oh, I try and talk people out of it all the time.
Me too. I did it a couple weeks ago. There was a Kia going to a Chevy dealership. No, sorry, the other way around. It was a Chevy Trax going to a Kia dealership, and it was going like an hour and a half away on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock.
Fuck those
Like,
people.
I was like, "What's going on?" "Oh, well, it's got reduced engine power, so we don't really want to drive it." So now I'm thinking, okay, well, it's got reduced engine power. It can drive. All right. So it's not that big of a deal. I've had people where the rear axle has been snapped out of a vehicle trying to get it towed to the dealership on this side of the gate.
Yep.
And I was like, so just so you are aware, when I Googled that address, it popped up on Google and I could see gates on the driveways. So I did myself a favor and I checked both entrances and there's both gates at both the entrances. "Oh, well, we don't want it dropped on the opposite side of the gate." And I was like, "I could put the key in the drop box, but it will sit on the outer side of the gate.
On the roadside.
And depending if it's Sunday night, that spot could be full. And if it is, then I'm dropping it on the road, I guess."
Are they coming with you?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing due diligence, checking things out.
Right.
For once, I won't just call you lazy. You're kind of trying to get out of the tow. I know you are, but
Yeah.
you got a good reason to get out of it.
Yeah. Like, if it was my vehicle, I probably wouldn't want it left in or put my vehicle in that situation. Right?
Well, that's because your vehicle is one of the most stolen vehicles in Ontario right now.
Shh, don't tell people. Don't tell people that.
There's like 4 of them they can figure out
They're
what you do.
stupid easy to steal. It's kind of depressing, really.
It is. I feel like I have people outside my window watching me. Anyways, continue.
Hello. And they said no. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Just feel free to. I was like, why are you getting it towed here? "Oh, well, it's got an appointment for 10 a.m. tomorrow." "Well, you didn't want to get it towed there on the Saturday?" "Well, no, we were driving it on the Saturday." "Then why don't you just drive?" Oh, I get it. That's my job. I'll get it there for you. Right. But I've had people where the rear axle has been snapped out of a Nissan Altima. And it's like, okay, well, it won't move. They're like, "No, it's stuck in the driveway." It's like, well, then I'm not sure what you want me to do because it's going to get dropped off on the outside of their gate. And they won't be able to move it to get their gate open in the morning.
Well, any dealership that makes it their gate swings outwards and that's the only parking they have deserve it, in my opinion. Like, let's be honest, you definitely deserve it. But that being said, no, it's tough, right? We have a Hyundai dealership in town where same thing, and like there's no room in front of their gate to drop it, but like off the side there's a parking lot with a little slope. Like their parking lot is higher than their neighbors.
Hmm.
So we definitely come in and plant the wheel lift and lift the ass end up and slide the bed out and put the bed down and drop it into their parking lot.
Mm.
We definitely have one dealership where we can do that. I've had drivers out of town where it's a short gate and they'll do the same thing. They'll drop it over the gate, especially if it's like an SUV with some clearance, because you normally lose a little bit of approach angle whenever you're doing that.
Yep.
But I had one the other day. I was actually up your way. I was up in went up to Whitby, and it was a stolen recovered vehicle that had been repaired at a shop down in Montreal. And so we picked it up.
Normally where they get stolen and taken to.
Oh yeah, they go to the port, right?
Yeah.
And I got so many stolen vehicles that have been spike belted and everything else in our yard. Anyways, I called the lady and I said, "Hey, you're expecting your vehicle back?" And she's like, "Tomorrow." I'm like, "Good news for you. It's coming tonight." Because I'm going to run this thing through the middle of the night because I'm not dealing with Toronto traffic and, whatever. It lined up better for us. I think that was the picture I sent you with my 40 TB with 2 cars on it.
Yep.
Anyways, it was one of those. So, and she actually goes, "Oh, what time are you going to be here?" I'm like, about 2 a.m. Supposed to be going to her house.
Oh.
Like, is somebody going to be home or whatever? She's like, no, I'm going to be in bed. And she goes, "Actually, you know what? I want Toyota to check it out. Can you just bring it to Toyota?"
What?
And she's like, "They've got a drop box there and leave it out in front of the gate. It runs and drives."
What?
Like you said, runs and drives, sure.
Yeah.
And this made I don't have to wake somebody up. I don't have to park on a side street at 2 a.m. and wake the
up
neighborhood
a bunch of people. And
yeah, it's like, I can just go to a dealership, drop this off, not talk to anybody, and turn around and drive back home. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when it comes to like parking outside gates, especially depends what it is. And some of these gates now, it's a hike.
Yep.
Like, I gotta go. I'm gonna charge you a second service, Mr. Roadside, for having to walk the keys in, because it would have been easier for me to change a tire. Like, it is shit. Like, I have one dealership in town. I mean, I get my steps in for the day going to drop keys off.
Yep.
And then it's like, I always take pictures on the call, especially if there's another car there for whatever reason. I always put a picture to go, "Hey, look, like, in case that other car leaves, maybe it was somebody going and checking out used cars. They're, new cars for sale." I always take a picture so that if I were getting shit from the dealership, "Why'd you put it in the middle?" Well, because these cars were here, right? Yep. Added to my call. I hate after hour drop offs at garages, and I don't mind garages. I hate dealerships. Right? It's
You brought up pictures, and I know we didn't plan for this, but I had a situation a week ago where a certain roadside sent a damage complaint to my facility saying that a truck that I towed 4 months ago,
yep, that sounds about right,
has a broken taillight and a dent in the side of the box. Now, I went back and I read this damage complaint, and it says that the customer doesn't think that we did the damage, but he wants pictures to confirm otherwise. And then
that's called
so
guilty.
I'm thinking, okay, why am I going to take pictures of non-existent damage?
Yeah.
In the first place. And this truck has sat down in a tiny little parking lot in the downtown Toronto for 4 months. 4 months. And he just got the truck back. Granted, it was going for a motor swap, but that's besides the point. When I got that, I went to the roadside's terms and service, and I sent them their own terms of service saying that the customer has 24 hours to make a damage complaint.
Oh, really?
That's it. That's all they get.
Nice.
And if anything has been done to the car prior or like after the service was completed, it's null and void.
Yeah, it's kind of like people used to talk about, right? Like if, a wheel fell off and you went to a garage and it's like, "Oh, well, my wheel fell over 3 days later." Technically, like once you're gone, like, you can't prove that the garage can't prove that you didn't tamper with your own wheel.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's some logic behind that too, but no, I didn't. I mean, 24 hours is a little short. Let's be honest. Like I think even a 3 days, right, would probably be like 72 hours is probably pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
3 to 5 business days, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, I've definitely had one where a damage claim came in where a guy said, "You ripped my CV boots on my Jimmy." And I actually went back and I looked at where my driver, like I looked at photos from the call, and on the call he had a photo hooking it up but you could tell it was an old Jimmy. He had it on the inside of the A-arms, not out by the ball joints.
Mm.
You could just tell by the length of how far the bridle was sticking out on the front and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, it wasn't us. So I called the guy and I said, hey, look, that wasn't us.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I never said it was you guys. I was trying to explain to them it was the towing company before who dropped my other car off, who used my Jimmy as an anchor to pull the car off the bed. And I went, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I also had a guy, he had
to
2 vehicles towed in the same day. So I towed his Hyundai Sonata to a shop local in town. And then the next day, I get a damage complaint about a busted oil pan. So I drive back out to the shop, take pictures of the car where it's at. It hadn't moved, no oil. And I sent all the photos back and I said, I didn't bust an oil pan because Hyundai Sonatas have a cross member anyways that block the oil pan from even being struck.
I don't remember even ever having a risk of hitting a Sonata's oil pan, but yeah.
I called the customer who had the complaint. I was like, hey, just so you know, I did go back to the shop. I'm not sure why. No, I had a Volkswagen Bug towed 200 kilometers and that's got the oil pan smashed out of it. I was like, oh, well, whoever you talked to on the phone put the damage complaint through the wrong call.
Roadsides don't even know, don't know shit.
No.
They don't know anything, so it's not surprising that they couldn't get that right. The fact they had 2 vehicles towed in the same day, that was a sign. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, and you know what? I find if you come good on damage claims, like I've definitely done. Have you ever done damage and not reported it? I definitely have.
Yeah.
I had a Hyundai, a little accent that blew the motor up. This thing was, I'm guessing, headed into scrap.
Yep.
And I hook it up and I go about, 100 kilometers with it. Maybe not 100, a little short than that. And I pull into the parking lot and the rear wheel is smoking.
And
I park it. I walk up to it. I open the door. I grab the handbrake. I push it down. Oh, shit. That brake was dragging for about 60 kilometers down the highway.
I picked a Mazda 3 up from a gas station. I picked a Mazda 3 up from the gas station a couple of weeks ago, and the owner of the vehicle was standing there. He was like, do you want the e-brake on? I was like, no, take the e-brake off and just leave it in first gear. Okay. So I get the car all hooked up. He hops in the back, and as I'm pulling out, I was like, you turn the e-brake off, right? He said, yes, the e-brake is not off.
Yeah, at that point, there's got to be liability.
I start driving down the road, go about 10 kilometers, and we come to a stoplight with the windows down. He was like, does that smell like brakes? I was like, yep. I'm pulling over. And sure as shit, he left the e-brake on. I was like, fuck, man, I should have double-checked it.
Yeah, you can't trust customers.
I can't trust customers, and I know I shouldn't trust customers, so I should always double-check. But the owner of the vehicle was there, and he told me, or I told him once to take the e-brake off, and then he confirmed that the e-brake was off prior to going down the road. So when we got to the drop, I was like, listen, man, are you okay about this? We both kind of fucked up. And he was like, yeah, I'm okay with it. And he's like, just so you know, if you do have a damage complaint, because it was through the roadside, here's my number, call me directly. But as long as you're good with it, we'll be fine.
Well, that's what I always prefer. I always love when the customer will call us directly instead of going through the roadside.
Yep.
But one thing I found is I had one where I did a boat. And anyways, I didn't skate the back. There was a back little angle iron piece. I didn't skate it and it dragged. It was on gravel. I didn't figure it was a big deal. I skated it coming off the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the guy called me up and said, hey, my piece is bent. I still don't know what the piece does. But it's bent, whatever. I'm going to need a new one. All right, go to wherever you get one of these. Go to the boat store. I don't know. And it's something I can change and everything. If you're just willing to pay for the part. And I go, yeah, I remember dragging it. No problem. Send me the bill. Let me know what it costs and I'll reimburse you, or let me know and I'll go in pay. However is going to make it easier for you. I never heard back from the guy. And I think a lot of it was a $20 part. No. You're willing to come good for it. I even, said I'll pay it out of my own pocket. I don't care. Because I am a big believer that in damage done because of stupidity, and in that case, it was laziness. I'll be honest. I did damage based on laziness. That I should be paying for that, not the company. And I told them I'll pay for it. No problem. Let me know. I was also worried I'd get a bill of $200 that had some fancy special bracket or something. It's it's like an angle iron.
Yeah.
I never heard back. So take responsibility for your damages whenever you do them. Don't do like TowManG and I. Don't hide your damages. I don't hide them, but I've definitely done some shit. Yep. So between taking for granted experience, taking for granted damage claims, and good old-fashioned golf stories. Don't forget the dealerships. God, I hate those after-hour dealerships.
Yeah.
On behalf of myself, my wonderful, wonderful, amazing co-host, Mr. TowManG, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Tow and Life podcast, and we can't wait to see you next week and to see you at the show. Take care.
Toodles. You didn't wave goodbye that time.
I didn't wave.
You didn't wave.